know what it's like to lose. Feel so desperately that you're...
You're all a bunch of fucking assholes. You know why? You don't have the guts to be what you want to be. You need people like me.
I know what it's like to lose. Feel so desperately that you're right. Yet to fail, nonetheless. It's frightening. Turns the legs to jelly. I ask you, to what end? Dread it? Run from it? Destiny arrives all the same. And now it's here. Or should I say, I am.
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
It's your boy, the Ben Israel, the People's Champ, back with another live to YouTube live stream. I'm a little glitchy tonight, y'all. My phone acting up, my voice acting up. I'm sorry, just bear with me. We're gonna get flowing. Hope everybody's doing well. Shalom, Israel. Uh, April 9th, 2024. Top of the hour, 9:03 Eastern Standard Time here in the QC. Welcome to the People's Podcast. I am the Shogun of Charlotte, the Heisenberg of this ish, the King of Queens, the Cookie Monster, Pumpkin Escobar, Chef V. It's your friendly neighborhood content creator, the one and only V Ben Israel. Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for joining us. As you come in the door, as usual, please hit that like button. Keep us in the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button. Also helps the algorithm. Hit the doggone bell. I know it's hard, man. Y'all act like it's hard. Hit that bell. Hit the cash app. Send me $2 so I can support the Pure Leaf Tea Fund. It's much appreciated. Oh, man. What we going to be talking about tonight? Oh, well, we going to talk about your girl. Y'all, Madam Vice President Big K Harris. I'm going to talk about her. Did y'all see what she said today? Well, yesterday, when was it? Recently, in the last 24 hours. Did y'all hear her? I think it was today. We're going to talk about that ish. I told y'all it was coming. I've been telling y'all for quite some time now. This is the Democrats' playbook. They run the same play every election cycle over and over and over. And it's time for Negroes to stop falling for it. Gotta stop falling for it, man. So we're going to get into it, man. We're going to get into it. Oh, man. Had a good conversation with my stepfather today. He's in the hospital. So all y'all prayer warriors, send your prayers up for Mr. Arthur Lewis. He's in the hospital. Appreciate that. 79 years old. Had a good conversation with him today. You know, he was giving me some context about, I was telling y'all recently about my Aunt Jane and my Uncle John, how they met in Newark, New Jersey in the 70s. So I wanted some more context on what was it like in Newark, New Jersey during the 70s, My stepfather is a native of Newark, New Jersey. And he was there at that time, so I wanted to see what his perspective was. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. Coming out of that tumultuous period with the riots in the late 70s, late 60s, and him describing the rebuilding effort, what was going on in the 70s during that time period. And much like I thought, he gave me some new information, but much like I thought, it wasn't the utopia or that cakewalk that a lot of people, you may assume it was. After 1970, civil rights is over, everything is good, No, there was some rebuilding, there was people trying to find their way, entrepreneurship was high. People trying to, not just black people, but, you had white flight going on at that time, and how people were getting along, interracially during that time in New Jersey. So it was a good conversation. It was a very good conversation. I would have recorded it, but he I didn't, he had a lot of tubes and things in his on his face and things, so he was able to talk very well, but I didn't want to give that appearance, so maybe at a later time I'll try to get one of those recorded conversations. I had wish I had did it when I talked to Aunt Jean 2 years ago. Um, when I was talking to her about that time period, I was, we hear so much tropes, men and women was at odds. There was men were beating the shit out of women and all of that. Men were abandoning women, but here I go. I got an example of if men were beating women and leaving women. How did my Aunt Jean and Uncle John get married during that time period? My grandparents were together, so obviously we haven't been told the correct information, you know. I haven't been told. So I always like to hear things from people who were there, from their perspective, and what they actually witnessed with their own eyes. What they smelled, what they saw. All of their senses were in play. I like to hear that as opposed to one author or one source with their perspective of whether they may sometimes these authors weren't they even actually there. They did research and you're getting the research, but you're not getting like a firsthand narrative. So I like to get that, that whole time period. I mean, from the 1900s to I would say from the end of the Civil War to the 80s was always fascinating for me. A lot of things happened, a lot of changes happened in a short period of time. I know we look at it today as if it's ancient history, but again, I'm talking to a man 79 years old that was there. He's still here. you know, that's not ancient history. But too often we don't talk to the elders and we don't get their perspective, right or wrong. We don't get their firsthand perspective on things. We just assume we know things, based on whatever. I know, like, I talk to younger people all the time. They get things mixed up, even, I talk to people about the OJ Simpson case. I watched every day of that trial. I was in college. Every day of that trial. It was a trial of the century. It had never happened before. So I got kids that were born in the 2000s. They only going by what they heard. Somebody else's slant, not necessarily firsthand. And surprisingly, because the whole trial is on YouTube. You can watch it. It was a lot of things fascinating there. And how the attitudes have changed from at the time in the 90s when that trial was going on. No black person thought OJ did it. But you talk today, and the younger generations, it's almost as a joke. Like of course he did it, and it's a joke to them, but it was very serious to us back then. I mean, I was in college in 1994, and we did the Million Man March. All of that was because of OJ. That jumped everything off. Mike Tyson was having issues. There was a lot of other things, but OJ was the catalyst for a lot of those things. So again, I mean, too often we think we got to agree with everybody, and it stops us or prevents us from listening. As Kevin, the late great Kevin, the Godfather Samuels, our Godfather of style, Saint Kevin said, "Chew the meat, spit out the bones. Chew the meat, spit out the bones." And a lot of times younger generations today, you can't tell them nothing. They 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 immediately start blocking what you're saying, and they don't chew meat and spit out the bones, and then they miss everything. Miss everything. Um, so yeah, but yeah, on your way in the door, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. When we hit cruising altitude, I will drop the link in case anybody wants to add anything onto the conversation. We're gonna be talking a little bit of politics today, um, and I think it's very relevant. Again, I've been trying to point these efforts of the Democrats out for a few years, almost a decade now. It's the same plan over and over. Um, the first thing they're gonna do is they want to go after the black women's vote. They know without black women, they can't win any elections. So they're going to try to secure that vote by any means necessary, even by lying. So that brings us to Sister Girl Big K Harris. You know, she's talking about wiping out student loan debt. Even if you didn't graduate, long as you've been paying on the loan for the 20 years. So who is she going after? My generation, black women, 20, 25 years or more. That puts you, coming out of school, early 2000s, the 90s. That's when you would have accumulated that debt. And, a lot of people saying, well, V, isn't that a good thing that they're paying off the debt? No, it's not. It's too many entitlements that have been extended to black women, and it's not sustainable. This is why we have inflation. This is why the cost of living is what it is, and it spiked up right after COVID. All of that, all of those entitlements that got issued. Um, well, some of y'all gonna say, "Well, V, more than black women got the entitlements." Of course they did, but on a percentage base, you got look at percentages. Who got the bulk of it, of those PPP loans, and abused it? Who got the bulk of the unemployment and abused it? Who got the bulk of the child tax credit and abused it? Who got the bulk of the stimulus checks and abused it? Well, that comes with a cost. They were basically printing money. Money has to be backed by something. You can't just, think about if you're playing Monopoly, you got a certain amount of money in the bank. If you run out of the money in the bank, you can't just run out and go to your printer and start printing more money, and the game continues. It's a finite amount of money. It's a finite amount of property that you can buy. So once all of the money has been distributed and all of the property has been bought, what has to happen in that game? You have to start negotiating with other people who own property as well. And that's capitalism. It balances itself out. Here's the problem, where you just keep printing money and money, it becomes you devalue what the money is actually worth. Thus inflation. Thus the buying power goes away. It's not worth what it used to be worth, kind of thing. That a dollar doesn't take you as far as it used to. You know, I'm trying to make this as simplistic as possible and not, I want to make this for a layman. That's why I'm speaking the way I'm speaking. I'm sorry, y'all. What do I have going on here? Oh, okay. That looked funny. That looked funny. But yeah. So what's happening? Just look at the last few years. All of that money got pumped into the system, and it wasn't sustainable, which is why they had to stop it. And what happened? We ran right into inflation, cost of living skyrocketing. I mean, I think I saw a report. It was like inflation was like 30 to 40% since Biden has been in office. Um, that was all stimulus related, and all of these other things that, again, it was just printing money. Not to mention money we're giving away to Israel. Not to mention money we're giving away to Ukraine and other places around the world. Not even talking about all of that included, because that adds to it. But I'm speaking specifically domestically right now. Um, Also, it doesn't benefit the black quote unquote community. Because what do you tell women? Women, you don't have to negotiate with your man in your community. That's that strong independent. They pumping money into and you getting free money, and it's not sustainable. So then they started snatching all of the benefits away. What's happened? 2 million inflation, 2 million evictions, 80%. This is just last year, 80% of which were black women. And they've made it a point, the corporate Democratic media machine, not to talk about that. I've been talking about it the whole time. As it's going up, the whole time I've been talking about it. Those numbers have been rising and rising and rising. Maybe more than that by now. I stopped counting in January, really. The courts are reporting their evictions are like at records, at record levels. The judges who handle eviction court, they're at record levels around the country. And the majority of it is black women. They're not only black women, but the majority. Because by being independent, free from authority, you're the most vulnerable. Well, Mr. Cartwright did that to you. And then he's snatching the carpet away from you because you're not teamed up or partnered or in cooperation with your men. You're leaving yourselves unprotected. You're not standing under that umbrella that I talk about where you can be shielded from it. It's a team sport. You can't function as an individual, ladies. It doesn't work. And this is what they've been doing every election cycle. Every election cycle in modern history. So going back to, go back to Obama's first run. Ever since then, they've gotten real crazy with it. So they're going to go after the black women's vote, and they're going to try to promise you things. And they can't deliver on this one, by the way. That's the other thing. They can't deliver. But she put it out there. The Supreme Court is going to block it. But by the time they block it, the election will be over. So then you're not going to get it anyway, but you have already have given them your vote. Biden knows this, and he told you when he was running the first time he wasn't going to do this. So why is Kamala coming out and saying it? Because he doesn't want to contradict himself, first of all, and he can always use her as a scapegoat. He's going to use her as a scapegoat. This will happen a year from now if he gets reelected. She'll be the scapegoat. Or if Trump gets in office, they're going to blame Trump for it not passing. So it's a win-win for them, It's a win-win for them. Dirty politics is what I call that. It's very dirty. They're putting legislation out there that has no chance of passing next year. No chance. We can't afford it. So all of those bad loans that paid for black women to go to school in the 90s, early 2000s, that we couldn't afford to do. Somebody got to pay for that. And y'all can't pay it yourselves because you went and got jobs, not careers, got worthless degrees which led to jobs, not careers. which doesn't allow you any money to pay for, which is why they're trying to dangle this carrot out there. That's why they're doing it. Because if black women was running circles around everybody and they was killing the game, they would have enough money to pay the loans. They don't. They don't. They got y'all standing at the register with a full shopping cart because they told you had a shopping spree, but you're standing there by yourself trying to get your groceries paid for. And they're doing it again. They do this every 2 to 4 years. Every time there's an election, they lied to you. They did it with Roe v. Wade 2 years ago. All of these things that are bad for the black community as a whole. See, what's happened really is that during this beginning of this millennial, what's been happening is that black women have been effectively made to be their own demographic, separate from their men. So you got black women operating independently solely for their benefit, and then you got black men and kids off to the side. So black women have gotten a habit of doing what's best for them in the immediate, whatever satisfies their immediate wants. It's not even a need. Whatever satisfies their immediate wants, they're giving it to you like just a sugar high. And black women don't even think they don't see the community. They're not functioning with the men and with the children. That's why unemployment amongst black children is sky high. When I was a kid, everybody had a job, all of the kids had a job, but that's another story. That's another story. This is why y'all can't read and write and do math, because they're not putting money into those resources to educate the children. They want to educate old 40-year-old Gen X women so they could get refund checks and free school money and not do nothing, and get entitlements that don't benefit nobody. It's not benefiting the society. You got to make an investment and get a return on your investment, but that's what's happening. The investment has been made, but there's been no return. There's been no return. You're just destroying yourselves. That's what's happening. What we're doing amongst black people is not sustainable. We'll be gone in 2 generations if we continue down this path. Just do the math. If once you take out baby boomers and Gen X, black women are getting married at a 10% rate. You can't have a community without families. You can't have families without a husband and a wife. So long as black women are being subsidized to destroy themselves, they're going to keep doing it. They're able to weaponize the courts. They're able to weaponize child support, family court, corporate America with the DEIs. It's all entitlements. Now they're trying to pay off your student loans. We already saw that black women, when they got the checks to do that during COVID, they had opportunity. The interest was suspended on the student loans. They didn't pay them off. They didn't take advantage of it. What did they do? They went on girls' trips. And they was going on brunches, buy TVs and cars. And then when immediately after, they wasn't paying their rent because there was a moratorium. And instead of saving their money, they got evicted. As a group. Was this everybody? No. But as a group, yes. 80% of the evictions are black women. But you got all of that money. What happened to it? That's what the rest of us are looking at. What happened to all of that money you were given? You should have come out on top. Should have been better. Should have been in a better position, but you're in a worse position. And men have been slowly walking away from the Democratic Party ever since, not slowly, but steadily walking away from the Democratic Party ever since Obama's second term. Because we started seeing the game back then. So once they once they get to a position where they think they have your vote secured, then they're gonna move on. Then they're gonna move on to the Hispanics. And then universal basic income is going to come out for them. They've already been teasing with it. So they're going to do that. They're going to do more of that. That's going to be locked in. And it may go nationwide. So they're going to get it, but you're not. Right? Then once they push that through, then they're going to do some alphabet community stuff. They're going to try to tease them with something. All of this is going to happen between now and November 5th. Just watch. Biden isn't campaigning. So what do they come out with? Gimmicks. We're going to give you free money. They're buying the vote. That is illegal. That's un-American. What is he saying? What is his plan to make things better? None. He hasn't said a thing. So she comes out and say, hey, we're going to give you some free money. Wink, wink. We're going to use this free money to distract you from these DEI gatekeeper hires that have been wreaking havoc around the country. Big Fannie G Money Willis, right? Tiffany Haynard, Stacey Abrams, Letitia James, and there are others, some smaller names. Got the girl, what's up in Ohio, the LGBT girl who was twerking upside down in a bathing suit to get votes up there, right? So you're gonna this foolishness is gonna continue because we fall for gimmicks. We just fall for gimmicks, and this is how the Native Americans were destroyed. They fell for trinkets, for shiny things and blankets, right? We're the Native Americans now. What did Dave Chappelle say? When is the last time you've seen a family of Native Americans? Wait. Where they at? On a reservation. Them reservations ain't good. But that's where they are. Because they fell for the trinkets. That's what they did. So I found that fascinating. She came out today with that lie. Again, the Supreme Court, you can't buy votes. And it's obvious that's what they're trying to do. Even people who didn't graduate college gets their student loans paid. Are you kidding me? Why? What is the return on the investment for that? And who's the largest recipient? Again, more black women were enrolled back then than just about anybody. Definitely more than black men. So it's obvious who you're targeting. It's obvious. I mean, do we really think? And they're gonna expand it before it's all over. Because who do we think people who dropped out of college is really paying these student loans? I mean, really, that's what we think. When the ones who graduated are barely paying their student loans. I mean, come on. I mean, it's foolish, like what we're saying. And then you tell people you don't have to earn anything. Entitlement is a destructive force. You're telling people you don't have to earn nothing. Somebody's gonna come around and give it to you. You don't have to work for it. You don't have to earn it. somebody is eventually going to come through and grant your wish, and you can go on acting foolish and irresponsible. That's what's going to happen. I think we 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 do a bad job in the black community of sending our kids to school. We're the only group of people who we send. We don't send our best students to school. We send average and bad students to school, and we wonder why our graduation rates are so low. That's not what college is for. College is for smart kids. That's what every other group of people does. Chinese people don't send dumb kids to school. Right? The Arabs ain't doing it. The Koreans ain't doing it. Nobody around the world does it but us here, us black people here. We know our kids weren't good in school and high school. What do we think is going to change by them going to college? No, they're going to party for a couple of years and they're going to flunk out. And in the meantime, they're racking up student loan debt, getting refund checks, buying cars, getting more consumer debt, maxing out credit cards. I mean, anybody who's been to college, especially in the 90s, know what I'm saying is true. All of the credit card companies would have those little tables set up outside the bookstore, give you something free to sign up for it. Because you had good credit, especially once you had that loan, that student loan, now you got good credit. And that's what they have. Sprint. Remember those silver Sprint cards? Everybody had that calling card and the water bottles and the nice book bags and T-shirts. They was out there every day. It was business. It was big business. If you didn't go away to college, you wasn't on the yard, you don't know what I'm talking about. But those of you who are on the yard know what I'm talking about. But the same thing is about to happen. Like I said, they're gonna it's cyclical. It's a cycle. So, black women, you're up. They're gonna try to dangle carrots in front of you to lock in your vote. Y'all have no reason to be voting for Biden. He isn't solving any problems. He's making them worse for black people, for your children, for your men. Then once they got you locked in, they're going to the so-called migrants. Right? So we're not calling them immigrants anymore. We're calling them migrants. Right? They're going to do the same thing with UBI. They already been giving it out, like I said, in a lot of places, 3,000 a month, 4,000 a month, for them to do nothing, for them to do absolutely nothing. And they're trying to make it a way so they can vote, even though they don't even have work. They're not able to work. They don't have any citizenship, but they're trying to make it so these people can vote, and especially in the swing states. Right? Especially in the swing states. You got to start paying attention, people. A gift destroys the heart, the Bible says. I'm paraphrasing. Right? I'm paraphrasing. Well, you got to be careful who's dangling carrots in front of you and why. Why are they doing it? Why are they doing this? They're going to push us into another recession. That's what's going to happen. This is not sustainable. It's not sustainable. Biden don't care. He ain't going to be around. I mean, I hate to say that, but he's old. He ain't going to be around much longer. So he's doing what he want to do right now. He ain't thinking long term because he ain't going to be here in the long term. Kamala is just playing her role. She's going to do what Mr. Cartwright says. That's what she's always done. Okay? Pay attention, people. So what's going on? Pay attention. Things happen in circles. I tell you, it's a cycle. And again, we're not that far out of Jim Crow South and being migrant workers ourselves. Be careful. We could slip that back into that very easily. Somebody has to be the underclass. Somebody has to be that. They've never been able to bring enough Mexicans in here to replace us. It's not possible. They can't do it. It's not sustainable. And companies tell you they can't afford to pay you, even though they're making record profits. They're making record profits, but they're screaming broke. Make it make sense. Tell our president to focus on that. Tell him to talk to his homeboys, because it's not just the Republicans that own businesses. These corporate Democrats are in bed with them too. Okay? They want you to keep making 80% of your babies out of wedlock because that's the quickest way to send them to prison. That's the pipeline to prison. It's part of it. That's where it begins. They got to keep them prisons full for the prison industrial complex, for the CAC. It's all connected. So they know in 20 years, the babies you're making now, they have a good chance of filling those beds they need to get filled. And they get kickbacks from their corporate sponsors from the CAC. Pay attention. Even though crime is going down. Crime is going down. But that's all I got, That's all I got. If you catch me on a replay, please hit that like button, subscribe, share, hit the Cash App, send the V, $ send the V. Leave comments. I check them. And stay tuned, man. Stay tuned.
You're all a bunch of fucking assholes. You know why? You don't have the guts to be what you want to be. You need people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy. So, what'll that make you? Good? You're not good. You just know how to hide, how to lie. Me, I don't have that problem. Me, I always tell the truth, even when I lie. So say good night to the bad guy.